Coming to you from the great state of Wisconsin, this is a CS27 Studios production. You're listening to the Binary Brothers Podcast featuring Ryan and Clay. It's time now to open your ears and prepare your mind because life's too short to be constrained in black and white. So without further ado, here are your hosts, Ryan and Clay.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Binary Brothers Podcast. I am one of your hosts, Ryan, and with me as always is my partner, Clay.
Hello.
Hey, this is episode 35.
Oh boy.
Right here.
Oh boy.
Second video episode. We'll put this up.
Reduce the sequel.
Yeah. But yeah, we're out here doing the thing again, getting together, giving you that sweet, sweet content that you love.
Letting you all listen to our sweet, sweet voices.
Soothing voices.
Soothing.
Velvet.
And all of you fancy people can see our soothing faces as well.
Oh yeah, if you got the bandwidth to watch the videos.
Yeah. I know it's 5G is, kind of a little bit of an issue out there. Don't know if people really want to be using it. But if you're risky,
scary technology.
If you're risking it, you can watch us do our thing.
There are two different kinds of 5G, which is also annoying. And then there's AT&T, who's never-endingly annoying, who calls things before they're actual things.
LTE.
I think it's 5GE.
5G.
No, it's not 5G.
AT&T is on like 7G right now.
Yeah.
They're always just... Nah, it's all right. We're on 7G. Nobody else has it. Look at our map coverage, which is just cities.
Have you seen our maps?
Have you seen them?
Expert cartographers over here.
We've seen them. We made them.
Oh, we made them. So yeah, tonight we're gonna get into some stuff. Obviously, there's a lot going on right now. We're gonna talk about Black Lives Matter.
So much stuff going on.
So many things going on. So we're gonna talk about that. How it's impacting us, thoughts, feelings, what you can do, all that stuff. So. But before we do that, as always, it is so important that we stretch.
Now more than ever.
Now more than ever. You got to warm up. If you're getting out there, warm up first.
Yeah.
If you're staying in, also warm up first.
Yeah.
No matter what, warm up.
Warm up. Stretch.
A lot of stretching. Forwards.
Backwards, and then one more forward. There we go. Got it. Oh, I feel so loose now. Loosey goosey.
You did it the right way.
Loosey goosey. I'm ready. I'm ready to go.
All right, man. Let's talk about music. What you got going on? What have you been listening to?
I started listening to. I've been listening to a bunch of Metallica.
Yeah.
Like this whole movement kicked off, or unfortunately, I don't know. Can I say fortunately or unfortunately in this situation? It's like both.
They're right. It's good and bad.
Anyhow, this whole thing kicked off, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to listen to Metallica's Black Album, which was the first Metallica album I ever got. It's such a great album. And then once I listened to that, I'm like, I'm just on a Metallica kick, and I just have been listening to all of their stuff. Right. Yeah. So that's kind of what I've been going on. It's getting me pumped up, like Metallica can do. But yeah, that's what's gotten me. What about you?
I've been listening to it. Actually, I wouldn't have been able to say this, but Run the Jewels. They dropped their album Run the Jewels 4 early, so they dropped it I think on Tuesday.
When was it
supposed to come out on Friday?
Okay,
so not too early, but
just early enough.
Yeah, the guys decided we need it.
You guys deserve it.
It's free. Like they normally make their albums free, so they're free. You can go to the website, you can download it. They ask that you make a donation, and it goes to one of those bailout funds, I believe. I forgot which one, but
there's so many.
But I was like, sure, throw $5 at it, get my album. So do whatever you can. But yeah, I've been listening to that a little bit. I haven't honestly been able to get entirely into it, but a couple tracks that people are, buzzing about. Just crazy. Like one of their tracks, Walking in the Snow. Lyrics that are just like insanely applicable to right now. And it's just, I don't know, just weird. Just surreal to listen to a song that was like written in 2019 that it's like perfect for exactly what's happening right now.
Right. There was a kind of a similar situation. There was a couple weeks back, there was a new Pucifer song that was like recorded in 2019, but it's like it fits like the whole quarantine thing situation like perfectly. It's weird. It's weird when that happens, predicting the future.
Getting out here.
Artists are insane in the membrane, man.
Yeah, man, it's a mix of sometimes predicting the future and in the case of the lyrics I was talking about, unfortunate not change.
Yeah. But I mean, with that though, like unfortunately, that's like something that's been happening for a long time.
Yeah.
Right. So like it's not like the quarantine has never really happened before. Right. So that's kind of a little bit like, how did you do that type of thing where with Run Jewels, it's like you could release that anytime and it's probably going to be applicable, right?
Yeah, Pucifer was clearly not talking about the 1918 flu.
No. So, I mean, they might have. Who knows?
Could have been.
I don't really know.
Like, this could happen again. And it did.
How did you do that?
How did you cause this?
Who are you?
Excuse my side typing.
It's all right.
What are you excited for? Are you excited for anything right now?
No.
It's hard to be, yeah.
I'm not excited for anything.
No.
I'm just not. It's like, it's been tough. It just like keeps getting worse.
Yeah. It's I agree. It's one of those things where it's like, I watched this video that someone sent the other day, and it was this Canadian woman on YouTube who was like explaining to my past self.
Oh, the sequel. She did one.
Yes. So she did you seen them. So she did the one where it's like, oh, I explained the pandemic to my past self. Yeah. It was her in like March or like April talking to January her, and then it's like June talking to April her, and she's like, it can't get worse, right?
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Needless to say, I'm not really looking forward to anything either. There's not really anything going on. It's still pandemic time.
Right.
It's not like it's safe. It's not like it's really safe to be out and like doing a bunch of stuff with people, even though people are.
It's not really safe to be protesting, but kind of have to protest. Like,
right.
It's just, yeah.
It's like we all knew that there was going to be this second wave probably of coronavirus, like especially in Wisconsin when, we talked about it last time. They lifted the safer at home order, and it's like everyone's just going to go out and pack the bars and do the stuff, and there's going to be this spike, and then this happens, and it's like there is definitely going to be even bigger of a spike.
Yeah. I mean, ever since the beginning, really, like, people haven't really been taking it seriously. Or there's been some people who haven't taken it seriously, and just with how things spread in an exponential manner, it's like it doesn't take many people to have it keep spreading.
Right.
So like you can have 90% of the people obeying a stay-at-home order and doing everything right, but if those 10% are just out there and acting like nothing's happened, well, then basically the whole stay-at-home order or the quarantine has basically been kind of for nothing.
Right.
And I always knew that would be kind of the case. Like, even when this whole quarantine started, I'm like, there's no way that... Because you just know that there are people out there that aren't going to take it seriously.
Oh, yeah.
And we talked about this in our original quarantine episode way back when. I mean, it feels like eons ago, where it was like if you just think about it, like if you think you're like an average intelligent person, right? Mm-hmm. That means half the people in the world are less intelligent than you. And like if it's a struggle for average people or people of average intelligence to like stay home and because we have this fight in us that like we want to get out, we want to do stuff. It's tough to stay in. It takes some mental strength to do it,
right? To
actually abide by it. And that there's a lot of people, essentially, just conservative estimation is just half the people are going to have probably less mental strength to do it.
Yeah.
It's so that's like always like weighed on my mind. I'm like, there's no way. It's like there's going to be a second wave no matter what we do. Because I don't trust society enough as a whole. And then we keep going, and then we had politics play in, and the economy is kind of tanking because we don't have safety nets in our economy, and so like people are out of jobs, a crap ton of unemployment, and it just keeps spiraling from there, and then we get the unfortunate murder. And this whole Black Lives Matter protest going on, and it's like people are now out in the streets, and safe at home order has been lifted, and it's just like, okay, let's see, what do we got next?
It's kind of all bets are off. Someone said something about a meteor on its way.
I don't think we're gonna get hit by a meteor, but we're gonna have some. We're supposed to have some like above average hurricane season. So
classic.
So that's fun.
I'll just wreck house. That'll be fantastic.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens there. And then I mean we had freaking murder hornets.
Murder hornets?
Murder hornets.
Furious? Betty White was trending.
Oh no.
Don't worry.
What happened? Okay. Oh, thank goodness. Yeah, so many people have like trended over the last couple of months. Like every time I go on, like every day I go on Twitter and I see some celebrity trending, like an older celebrity. I'm like, oh no,
this is it.
And it's like, oh no, everything's good. I don't know why they're trending. Oh, it's their birthday. Okay.
Oh, okay.
All right, I got it.
This is no good.
Yeah. So it's tough to look forward to things. Can't really travel, or I don't want to travel. Like if I do travel, it would be by car, and I don't really have any destination that I really care to go to by car. That's like a vacation. It would be more like probably a day trip if I do anything.
Right.
So yeah, all other plans are off.
All plans are off. It's not like I said, it's looking fairly bleak out there. Things have just
a bit grim.
Things have just been going downhill.
I'm so glad we have such a positive episode right now.
It's hard.
I know.
You just gotta be real. Like that's just what it is right now.
If anybody can trust us to be anything, it's real.
Yeah.
We're the real Binary Brothers.
We are the real Binary Brothers
podcast,
and we are ready to stand up.
Yeah. Except we're sitting down while we're doing this.
Well, obviously we're going to sit down. We're not maniacs.
Yeah. What do you think?
If I had a standing desk, I might, but also, I don't know. Not for this.
No, not for this.
Just relax a little bit.
We've gone through enough. Let us relax.
It's been a day.
It's been a day and a half.
It feels like it's been a month already.
It's been what is it? March? Early March it started. pretty much. So it's been
Yeah.
2.5, 3. Well, 3, I guess. It's been 3. 3 months. It's a quarter of the year.
First was it? No, yeah, it's almost second quarter. It started a little bit early. Well, yeah, God, a quarter of the year just a crapshoot,
Yeah.
and it's not looking like it's gonna get much better.
Nope.
Man,
I guess if I had to pick something to look forward to, it is the fact that sports are kind of coming back.
are they? I feel like I might have heard something, but also I've been very distracted by it.
Yeah, I mean, there's other more important things to be
Yeah.
on your mind.
Is
but
it basketball or?
so yes, NASCAR's already been going. They've been going for a while, a couple weeks
cars.
now. I don't know. I don't watch it. I've just heard. That's apparently been going on. Golf is starting next week, which once again, that's pretty easy to.
Right.
They're not having fans for the first couple.
Right. No crowds.
Yeah, it's pretty easy for them to social distance. But then the NBA today announced that they would be doing finishing off their season, I think starting kind of in, I want to say like late July. 22 teams going to be playing in Orlando. Like, they're all going to be in Orlando for a vacation. They're gonna, Disney World and everything, and occasionally play some games. So that's, I mean, we'll have another episode before that happens, but we got that announcement that the NBA is going to be coming back to finish off their season. The NHL is working towards finishing off their season, which is kind of the same timeline as the NBA. A little bit different structure, but same type of thing. And then, I mean, eventually the NFL will start in August, September time frame, right? So, we're not going to go another 3 months without sports.
Right. Something will be back, right?
Something will be back besides NASCAR. And then who knows? Maybe they'll get canceled again. Who knows? But at least they'll play something first. We'll find out. But I guess if I had to pick something to be excited for or looking forward to, that would, I guess, be it. Even though we're still a little bit of ways away from some of those things.
Right.
But there's light, I guess, at the end of this tunnel.
Yeah, I suppose we can't just feel hopeless.
We're human beings, gosh darn it. Rebellions are built on hope.
All right, warmed up? Want to get into it?
Oh, I'm warmed up.
Let's go. Okay, let's do it. So George Floyd was murdered.
He sure was.
Just ridiculous. I'm sure people, anyone that's listening has heard of it. If you haven't heard of it, it would literally be impressive.
That person has been super quarantining.
Yeah, to the point that you're not on any social media talking about anything.
You have quarantined to the point where you're in a panic room. You're in a bunker.
You're at hermit levels.
Yeah.
If you haven't heard about this.
But for all those who are not hermits,
you've heard about it. Last week.
Was it last week already?
Ugh. Yeah, man. Last week on 25th, I believe.
25th of May.
He, an African American man, a black man. He was at a convenience store, I believe, and it was it a bad check or a fake bill? I've heard both.
I've heard the fake bill. I haven't heard about the check, but
yeah,
I don't know exactly. I don't have a definitive source that's
right.
It doesn't matter, really.
It doesn't matter at the end of the day, because the result was that 4 police officers responded to what happened and basically ended up on top of him after arresting him in the street with a knee to this man's neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds while he begged for his life, and bystanders asked the officers to do something to help him. He said he couldn't breathe. I can't breathe. We've heard that before. And we heard it from another person. And one officer stood there and watched. Other ones helped. At some point, there were 3 on top of him. And he died. He's dead. He was murdered in the street by officers. So that has sparked a lot.
So yeah, video came out of that, and then cited a lot of pent-up anger.
Yeah.
And rightfully so. And, well, you got millions of people out of work, so it's easier than ever for them to say "no way, Jose" to these police officers,
right,
and to the system, to rage against the machine.
Indeed. Yeah, I mean, speaking of music, that's appropriate for it. I mean, like, System of a Down and Rage Against the Machine, both in heavy rotation these days,
for sure.
But yeah, I mean, it not that the movement ever really died down, but it really came to the forefront. Everything came to a boiling point, right?
Yeah.
You know, people were protesting. People were, like you said, rightfully so, upset about what happened, and you know, they were just available. They were out there and ready to go, and everyone basically has said, "We've had enough of this," and it's escalated from there, and it just seems like it's still escalating. I mean, there hasn't been a day without protests, peaceful and otherwise, since. I mean, we're seeing a lot of stuff out here. We're seeing people gathering peacefully, right? And we see that there are people that are not so peaceful, and to be honest, I don't condone, obviously, like violence or any sort of, you know, illegal activity that people are really doing, but I get it, right? Like,
yeah,
I understand. Like, people are frustrated and they don't know what to do with this, and
it's tough to blame them,
right?
After everything they've kind of gone through and how this has been an issue for so long and nothing has changed,
right?
And like with all the peaceful protests that have gone on, it's tough to really say, like, how dare you do that, right?
Right.
Yeah, there's definitely, there's peaceful protests, there's some violent protests, and then there's groups of people that are just trying to take advantage of these protests, rioting and looting, using the protests as a distraction. And that is unfortunately giving kind of the protests a bad name or a bad image. Mm-hmm. And then I think, like, for me, the most depressing part about all this is just how terrible, like, leadership has been responding to this.
Yeah.
Like, this should have always been a peaceful protest.
Right. And like the escalation, like, from leadership, like saying, like, we're just everyone just going nuts, like militarizing like every single thing. Like, the police are out and like full force, fully decked out.
Yeah,
we couldn't have PPE for our healthcare workers, but I don't know. We got cops doing all sorts of ridiculous stuff, and I have heard firsthand from people that have been at some of the stuff that's happened in Milwaukee, some of the things that have been going on, and that's not helping. It's not helping even one single bit, because even if people do start stuff, right? Say someone throws a water bottle or whatever, like tear gas. Yeah,
like there's a level.
Not even fine in war,
right? Like, it's literally a war crime to be For me, like, we saw this. We watched from afar basically all of last year. This exact same thing. Not the same reason, but the same thing with protests happening in Hong Kong.
Yes.
And we saw those protests go, and then we saw how the police just escalated everything. The response, it is China, and China's just they're a bit authoritarian,
right?
So like they're really trying to get Hong Kong in line, and so they condone that stuff. But like that's something you think of, like when you think of China, you think, okay, that's kind of them, or that's that country, that's that regime. And so we saw all this brutality and going on, and protesters, and it's just like depressing. Like, you know, I wish these protesters it would actually work out for them, or that they wouldn't be put in such a dangerous position for just peacefully protesting because the police are just attacking them.
Right.
And watching that from afar, it was disheartening. But it was like, that's happening over in China. It's a different culture. It's a different regime. It's different politics. It's a different situation. There's no way that like you'd see that here. Like
right, that wouldn't happen.
You have this idea that that's not going to happen in America. Now, I mean, it's not like that hasn't happened in America. You have, you know, the LA riots of yesteryear, and I mean, there's things that's happened in the past where, you know, obviously, you know, police brutality has happened. That's kind of the point of the boiling point of this whole thing, right? Is that police brutality has been an ongoing thing for a while. And this, you know, death of George Floyd, it kind of broke the camel's back. It was kind of the last straw a little bit, because we've seen plenty of other, you know, deaths in recent years,
right,
of this sort. But then these start happening, and we start seeing these protests, you know, happening, and they're peaceful, and then all of a sudden, you just see the same actions being made by, you know, our policemen, our police, you know, to the protesters. And it's just mind-boggling because we saw how this how this worked in Hong Kong,
right?
You know, how are we not learning from this? How can you possibly think that tear gassing protesters are going to make things better? How do you even think that like beating protesters or being violent,
right?
Like, how does that improve anything?
How does this help? How does it stop? How does it stop it? Right?
Like, like as depressing as the George Floyd death is, and how depressing, you know, this whole just thing that our black community has to deal with or have been dealing with, like it's different when it's like it's just getting piled on top of,
right?
Like it's just like there are ways that we can make this better, and like fairly easily. Like it's not rocket science,
right? It was taking a bad situation basically, and they've done nothing but compound it and make it worse. And like you said, it's like we're like blind to the things that are happening in other parts of the world. We say like that wouldn't happen here, and then our leadership like lets things like that happen, and then we're surprised that things are escalating, that things get more violent, that people are pushing back more, that there's so much outrage, and it's like how did you not see that this would be the way people would react? It's because people aren't stopping and listening to what the BLM movement is asking for, what things are truly important, what we're trying to be heard for, right? And it's like, well, we just see a group of people out there and they're not us, so we're gonna take care of it.
And the worst part for me is, like, I have no confidence that they're gonna change.
Right.
I just don't. like that's the most depressing part to me. So how senseless this is, and the fact that it's in my mind still probably not going to change anything, and I don't know how to fix it.
Right.
Like I just don't, because for me it's so easy to see like how to make things better. For me, like, it's not that complicated of a problem to solve. It really isn't. Like, it's just a matter of just treating people better. Like, that's how simple it is. But we have these groups of people who just have this ingrained idea in their mind that, you know, minorities, the black community, like, they're just inferior.
Right. Sorry, you can go ahead.
And then you have, on top of that, people that have, like, that mentality and also have, you know, power trips, have some power, like, you know, police. And it just, like you said, it just kind of compounds. And, like, I don't know, Ryan.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a problem with the system, right? Like, I'm a firm believer. I think that some people don't realize it, some people don't get it, and it's not necessarily their fault. But people grew up with privilege, right? Even in the simplest way, even if your privilege is as simple as not being afraid to be stopped by a cop, right? I think, like, there is systemic racism. I think there have been plenty of things that have been set up that go against people of color, blacks in America, and it's tough. It's ingrained in the system, and people do not realize that these problems exist. And some people, I know some people that, like my wife and I have talked to, that, you know, think that they are doing, you know, potentially the right thing, and that they have the right idea, that they're solving a problem a certain way, but they don't realize that there is a bigger underlying issue to some of this stuff, right? It's laws that have been enacted. It's the way neighborhoods are laid out. It's districts. It's voting. It's voter rules. It's predatory lending. It's all sorts of things that are baked into a large portion of our system and a large portion of our history that really put blacks at a disadvantage.
Oh yeah.
And like you said, the people in power have been white people, and people in power do not want to give up their power, and they will design things in a way that will keep them in power. And like you said, I am cautiously optimistic that things will change, but it is not easy. And right now is the time to be uncomfortable with basically literally everything. We have to, speaking of Run the Jewels earlier, Killer Mike, he's one of the guys in Run the Jewels. He got up and he spoke, and he said we need to plot, we need to plan, we need to organize, and we need to mobilize. I think he said strategize too, but it's like we need to do those things, right?
All the eyes.
All the eyes.
Gotta do it.
We need to get out there and we need to make those changes. We need to vote the right people in, and it's not just as simple as that, but we do need to vote the right people in. We need to pay attention to what's going on. And I think one of the biggest things that we need right now is for people to be educated, and then to go out and try and educate themselves about, you know, what's going on in the history and what the problems of the system are, and you know, learn things like that. I props to my wife. She's been doing all of the research in the world over the past week, and she's been learning so many things, and she's been trying to spread that knowledge. And it's been amazing to see, and I want to see that in more people. And you know, every little bit that you can do towards it helps. If you don't know what to say, ask someone what you should be saying, what you should be doing. You know, what should I be learning? It's just things like that. And like you said, it boils down to caring about other people And when you care enough about other people, you will want to enact that change, and you will learn, and you will do everything that you need to do so that we can have that equality. I don't know, man. It's a tough road. It's like you said, it's boiled over now. It's been happening for so long, and this kicked it off, but this just points out the problem once again.
Yeah, I mean, and it doesn't help once again that leadership is just god awful right now.
Right.
Like all the way to the top.
It's like if some leadership I've seen like can't even just say something that is like the most basic human of stuff, like to just say about other people and about the situation and what has happened. And some people are just choosing flat out ignorant things to say, like that LAPD or that sheriff that said that the death of George Floyd was on the hands of the protesters. Fire that man.
Yeah, like, you know, like so Ryan, you and I mean, we have friends, we have brothers who are police officers. Yeah. Now, to be fair, they are police officers in some pretty like small towns for the most part. So it's not like they're, you know, big city police. So they're probably not having to deal with these protests all that much. Or these, like they have other problems probably to deal with. They probably don't have a whole lot of, you know, just the population of their towns is just not the same as a city in terms of just demographics and everything. So they have other issues to deal with, but I've dealt with plenty of like what we'd call good cops, right?
Right.
And we've seen videos of good cops. There's videos of the sheriff or these cops like joining in on these protests. There's like plenty that are doing great things. And it's like that's great leadership. That's the leadership we need.
Right.
And then you just see the complete opposite of those in like the LAPD or all these other like big city PDs, just power trips, and just you know, just violence that is just completely unneeded because of unnecessary escalation of things.
Right.
It's like, how does this even happen? Like, how do you... I just can't get over the fact of how simple it would have been to just prevent, you know, the destruction that has happened.
Right.
With decent leadership. With just straight up just arresting 4 police officers. That would have stopped this entire thing.
Hundreds, thousands of protesters arrested before 4 people that were on video, like it's super obvious, were involved in this. And I don't buy the excuse that you need to do like so much due diligence that it took this long for it to happen. I don't buy the medical examiner, right?
No,
saying,
of course not.
Saying underlying health conditions were the cause of George Floyd's death. Watch that video and tell me that any underlying health condition would be the reason why he died. It's like shooting me in the face and saying, well, he had a cold.
Yeah.
Like
some colds are pretty bad.
It's good. Yeah, Rona. But as a side note, to use tear gas on citizens during a respiratory pandemic.
Yeah.
Like
how dumb can we be?
Who are the morons that decided that this is okay? Stupid. Just stupid.
For 8 minutes and 46 seconds. 8 minutes and 46 seconds more than needed.
Right.
Like there's no reason to put a knee on someone's neck.
They don't teach that even.
Yeah. So that's wrong, first off. That's easy to point out. Arrest him right away. You have the other 3, just get them in custody too, just as like suspects, essentially. if you arrest those four, I'm not even saying like charge them. I'm just saying straight up just arrest them. They could just go free like, a couple weeks later. I'm not saying that would be right.
Right.
But even if that situation happened, we have avoided all of this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people might still get upset that they get released, later on.
Yeah.
And but I don't think the protests would be as large as they are right now.
I don't think it wouldn't be. I don't think it would be. Yeah, I don't think it would be as big. I don't think it would be global. I mean, other countries are involved. Like, you see John Boyega over in the UK, like, speaking at a rally, just speaking his heart, and he's done it. He's done it on Twitter, in the past in general, and he's been unforgiving about it. And props to that man. And he literally said, I don't know if I will have a career after this because of the way he's speaking, the things he's saying. And, people are reaching out and he's saying, you will have a job and stuff. But it's like, it's global. It's everything. And it is. I think it would have. Yeah, I think it probably wouldn't be as bad. And I think.
Like, just something simple as that. Like,
right.
It would have prevented so much. We wouldn't be talking about, oh my God, look at all the rioters and the businesses getting damaged, and like that probably wouldn't have happened. Like,
God forbid Target lose some merch.
All the stuff that is insured, by the way.
And I don't know. And it's
once again not condoning it, but just putting things in perspective.
And I will say, like, I have found some friends and family and other people's response or lack thereof disconcerting, right? It's been, I've heard people focus so much on like the rioting and the looting and the stuff, and it's like, yes, that is bad. No one is saying that is good.
Once again, it's a side effect.
I am not surprised, but like, don't talk to me about the looting if you're not talking about the fact that someone was murdered in cold blood on the street, which is why this kicked off. And it's not just this. That's the thing. Like, it's been everything. Like, whether it's a police officer like murdering someone in the street like this, or it's Ahmaud Arbery being lynched by people, right? It like, just ridiculous. We are clearly seen as second-class citizens, and it's bad, and it's in a bad way. And I don't think I saw some speech at some like a clip of some professor at some university, and she said, if she talked to a room and there's a room full of white people in, and she says, if you would be fine being treated the same as blacks in America are treated, please stand up. No one stands up. She says, I think you misunderstood me.
Yeah.
Repeats the question very clearly again. And she says, no one is standing. And so that means that you understand that there is a problem and you wouldn't choose it for you.
Right. You're basically, what you're saying is you don't want to be treated like them because you think they're being treated worse than you're currently being treated.
Right.
Essentially. Like, the obvious answer would be, yes, stand up, because I want to be treated like everyone else, like a human being. But
and if that is not the obvious answer, there is an obvious problem.
Right. And you could make the argument that, like, the first time that question was asked, you would be like, no way standing up, because it is a little bit of a confusing question if you like hear it the first time. But that's why, like, she clarified it, she said it again, and once you hear it that second time, you're like, okay, it should pretty much click what she's trying to say, like, pretty obviously. So, like, I can forgive people, like, not standing up that first time, because, quite frankly, like, if I'm in a class and a teacher asked me a question, I'm not gonna volunteer myself right away. I'm like, wait a second,
I'm not sure.
Yeah, like, it's I just want to sleep in this class.
In a meeting, sometimes someone will ask a question and it's like complete silence, and in my head, I'm like, should I be answering this right now?
Yeah, wait, is this question for me?
I don't think I heard my name. I don't know if they were talking to the developers.
Yeah, am I the only developer in here?
I think.
Crap, I am. Oh, yeah, damn it.
The downloads. Bits.
You gotta download the files from the files are in the computer.
They're in the computer. But yeah. So there's plenty of stuff. There's plenty of stuff to do to try and help. I know I'd never heard of Card before, but there's Black Lives Matters .card with 2 R's.co. Pretty simple URL, pretty simple website. If you just Google Black Lives Matters card, it'll bring that site up, and it's basically just a real quick list here of all the things that you can kind of get involved. Looks like they got protest maps, they got petitions you can sign, text, call, donate, talk about the stuff, resources in general. I'll post it later to that link, but also
to our social media.
For social media,
everyone better be following and liking and
following. Get following.
Yeah, we got all the info for you.
But like another thing I kind of want to say is that at this point, it's not good enough to just not be racist, right? That's one of those things, is that I think people very easily say, well, I'm not racist. And that's great that you're not racist. But you should be anti-racist. You should be on the side of being like loudly against racism. And that's one of those things. It is all well and good to not be racist, but if you're not helping, you are hurting.
Then yeah, you're letting the status quo be, essentially.
Right.
So
yeah.
So I mean, like, I'm not like I haven't really expected like I don't go out and look for people or celebrities to like make a statement or brands to make a statement about this. A lot have, and that's good. I don't really, unfortunately for me, like I'm so desensitized to companies making statements about these things.
Yes.
That like I don't care what they have to say, unfortunately, because they're usually just doing it for monetary reasons. But it is nice to see when they do make a statement. In terms of like celebrities, once again, like I don't really care if they come out and say it. It's nice if they use their platform.
Right.
It certainly helps if they use it. But to me, like, social media is like, I don't expect things on social media. I'd rather them like this is just me personally.
Yeah.
Like I'd be all right with them not saying anything on social media, but like doing things, off social media, like doing things in their community to help, doing, other stuff like that. Like I don't, like if they don't say something on social media, I don't really care all that much, because social media to me is not it's kind of an ugly thing.
It is a great tool.
It's a great tool.
And like that, it is definitely being leveraged to get a lot of this Black Lives Matter stuff out there right now and keep people in the know. But it also can be a great tool for misinformation.
Yeah,
and just for another marketing opportunity, like you said. And I can agree like that. I slightly disagree with you. I think that if you have that platform, you should say something. And yeah, I get doing stuff is great too, but at the same time, it's a huge platform to get out on.
True. Maybe I just kind of misstated. In terms of like I don't go looking for those messages.
Okay.
You're right. If they have the platform and they use social media, you should use it for this. They should utilize that. But Like, I'm not gonna like search out like, did this person say anything? Oh, they didn't. Well, raise my fist or whatever. Like,
right. Yeah, I think I wouldn't. I haven't been.
Like, I don't care that much about what other people like say, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I know, like, one thing, like, people were really ragging on Kanye West, right? Because he's been quiet, and we all know that he's worn a MAGA hat before, and
he is an insane person.
He is an insane person.
So...
He is a music genius, but also he is nuts and sold garbage bags as clothes. But
have you seen his shoes? Yeezy shoes?
Yeezys are ugly.
They're so ugly.
Just as a side note, it's fine if you like them. Everyone has their own things, but no, thank you. I don't like them. But apparently he's been quietly donating like $2 million.
Yeah.
So like that.
That's good. Great.
And that's
awesome.
Good. Like, that's like, do what you can, help and stuff. And it's like.
But here's the thing.
I don't go out of my way to look for someone to say something.
Yeah. But also here's the thing. If he ends up voting for Trump again,
he is part of the problem.
Like, that's just as bad, if not worse. In my mind, that would completely negate his $2 million donation. I'm sorry, but like, yeah, $2 million is more than I will probably ever make, like, in my life. But like, you can't just keep supporting a part of the problem.
Right.
Like, for me, like, that stuff is more important than if they use, because social media it's so saturated. Things are being, there's every single day it's just post after post after post,
Right.
Like, nothing really lasts all that much on social media. So that's where for me, if somebody like doesn't use it, it's like, well, like, there's opportunities pretty quickly for them to use social media for good in the near future, because everybody posts like every day, and all this stuff, all these posts that are happening now will be, in a couple of days or a couple of weeks, like, nobody will really, you won't look for them anymore, right? They're basically gone. They're archived to the social media past, essentially. But there are things we can do that are more tangible or last longer than just a single social media post. So I'm not saying like don't post anything, don't use your platform, but we gotta also do like actual, like, meaningful things.
We need to make sure we're doing the other legwork, right? Like doing the actual legwork of that stuff, because again, like, saying something is one thing, but
walk the walk.
Actually getting behind it, doing the things, getting out, is, like we said, like, there's a pandemic. The pandemic's still, but people are going to organize, and I think like it's important to be out there and to be seen and to be heard.
Yeah.
And it's like do whatever you can.
Yeah, and it's tough for me to go, like, I'm probably not one of those people that are going to go out and actually protest, not because I don't like want to, but like, there's a pandemic still going on, and I just don't feel comfortable getting into large groups. So like, for me, things I can do, there's plenty of things I can still do, from donating and signing petitions and all this other stuff, and supporting those who are essentially kind of risking their livelihood here of going out and protesting. So like, even if you don't feel like you can really or don't really have the I guess strength to go out and protest, there are things you can do.
Right. Yeah, we can make sure that, like you said, we are donating, we're signing petitions, we're reaching out to the people we need to reach out to, we're making sure to support people in any way we can, support the movement in any way we can. And if you can't get out there, then you can't. And if it's like if it would be a serious problem for you to get out there, if you have I know people have families to worry about, right?
Yeah.
Families, friends, all sorts of things to worry about, and it's dangerous, but it's also, like I said, it's worth it.
I mean, there is a tipping point for people like me to get out there.
Yeah.
You know, if things get bad enough, then yeah, you'll see me on the streets. But right now, for me, I feel like I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah.
Because if this pandemic wasn't going on, it would be different. But
right.
like I just don't.
Yeah. And like I said, it is tough, and I get not wanting to go out and not being out there, but again, like, if you're not, make sure that you're doing everything else, you know. Yeah. Make sure you're doing everything you can, because again, like, there are people out there representing, and there will be people out there representing, and we also have work to do here at home, and we have work to do, you know, at the polls when the time comes, any time of year. Not that it's a silver bullet, but
no.
Anything you can do to enact change at any level, get involved, figure out what you can do, help us all be equal, help us all be heard, and I don't know, just, we need the support. So do what you can.
Yeah. Oh, so depressing.
It is so depressing. It's tough. It's hard. It's
with everything going on. It's just like one thing after another is just kind of kicking you down.
Yeah. It's rough out there. I mean, we will hopefully get through this. Hopefully we'll start some sort of uptick. Hopefully there will be actual positive change that will come out of this tragedy. And, you know, I don't know. At the end of the day, I keep saying it, but we just have to do what we can to try and make it better. Like
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. If we're learning from, you know, the past, Hong Kong, they're still protesting, and it's been like a year and a half, something like that.
Yeah. This
could go on for a while. If we don't start just having common sense leadership, this could go on for a while. Because, like I said, it's been boiling up for a long time, decades, well, centuries, really.
Centuries, yeah.
Sorry, like a super long time, and like you can't ask for, like, you can't say that it's like it shouldn't be done, because there's been every single chance for us to prevent this.
Right. We've had every opportunity to make America the place where everyone is actually free and actually accepted and respected. And obviously there are always going to be people that are out there that are going to be against you for one thing or another. But I think that, like I mentioned earlier, the system has been built this way.
Oh yeah.
And it needs to be changed. And if we have to protest for a year, 2 years, 3 years, however long it takes,
however long it takes,
whatever it takes, until it's done.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a lot of positivity here.
A lot of positivity.
Love us. It's positive. You know, I think things will get better. They better get better.
They have to, or they will just continue to get worse.
I'm not gonna lie. I've been kind of looking for. I've been kind of like searching some jobs in Canada.
Canada.
Like, if just in case, if November goes wrong, I might be out of here.
Rough. Yeah.
I might be out of here.
We can do our jobs from anywhere.
We can.
So that's the lovely thing that I have definitely learned. I always knew about my job, but I've definitely been driven home by this whole thing is that I can work from literally anywhere. I've had a little bit of a tough time just because I do like having some sort of like physical interaction. Yeah.
From time to time. Like it's tough doing like every single day from home.
Right.
Like it would be nice maybe like once a week or something to be able to like go into an office and just be able to talk to people face to face and just personally. I know some people are completely fine with not having to do that, but
yeah, we've talked at work about like the potential of coming back in kind of like shifts and maintaining some form of social distancing and trying to keep everything clean and stuff. It would be complicated, but I admit like it would be nice at times to have that, be in a room with someone and be like, hey, I got this idea.
Right. Instead of having to like chat them up, hey, can you do a video conference now or whatever?
Can I do a call? I'm busy. Can I call now?
Right.
When I do a call, do I do video? And my background is kind of weird. Do we have custom backgrounds?
Are we using Zoom or what are we using here?
At my own.
Yeah, it's been a little tough in that regard, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how companies kind of respond to this moving forward. If more companies are more welcome to remote work.
Yeah,
I hope so. I think it's nice.
Nice.
I just think it's neat. Yeah. Whew, man. Have you gotten word on when you're going to be back or when those shifts would start or something?
It was originally, I feel like, potentially coming back in like June. Obviously not happening.
Yeah.
I feel like at some point we got an email that was like we might be back in like June in slightly shifts and like figuring stuff out and whatever with all these rules, and my supervisor asked me about it and I was like, rather not just to be honest, I'd rather not deal with all those rules. I'd rather just work remotely.
I don't like rules. There's no rules.
There's one rule.
There's one. There's always one rule.
But yeah, like that was supposed to be it. So right now the newest information is just we're working from home indefinitely. So
yeah.
What about you? You get any word on?
Last time we heard was back in I want to say early May. So a month ago or whatever, and that was basically saying that we would not be returning before Independence Day, July 4th.
Okay.
So there's no date on when we'd return, but it wouldn't be any sooner than that. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it evolves from there.
Yeah, it's the same thing with like with my football season. They just made an announcement like a week or so ago where they said we're gonna try and see if we can do August 8th. If not, pushing it back, and if it gets pushed back any further than the 22nd, there would be no season. We would just skip to 2021.
Yeah.
So still rough out there.
Still rough. Well, all right. Let's make sure that we do things to support this movement.
Yes.
Whether it be actively protesting or supporting the protests, calling out people who are against it.
Yes.
It's always a good thing. Yeah. Let's do it.
Do what you can. Use your power. Use your resources to do anything you can. Talk to people. Figure out what you can do. If you don't know what to do, ask. Educate yourself. We need to make these changes. We'll make it happen.
What better time than now?
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Binary Brothers Podcast. We can't wait for you to tune in next time. But until then, make sure to find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, SoundCloud, and BinaryBrothersPodcast.com.